Hey guys, it's Vas here from Aussie RC Playground with a very quick review of this 1/10 scale 4-wheel drive brushed buggy from SRC. That's right, I did say brushed. Now this guy comes equipped with the standard 540 size motor with a built-in fan, a fairly basic ESC that can handle a 2S LiPo, and a no frills steering servo up the front to steer the car. Keeping the car planted on the ground, we have these non-threaded plastic bodied shocks with aluminium caps, and these were not supplied with preload spacers out of the box. Now this guy came equipped with a 2.4 GHz radio, which has a stubby little antenna, steering and throttle trims, and steering and throttle dual rate behind the clear cover. It does run on 8 AA's, but overall the remote performed reasonably well and has a pretty good feel to it as well. The car also came standard with a 7.2 volt 1800 milliamp nickel metal hydrate battery pack. This one's got Dean's plugs connected to it because I've already swapped them over, but originally they had the standard Tamiya plugs. It also came with a very cheap charger to charge the battery, but most people will swap this one over for a much better quality one. Now when I first drove the car, I have to say that I was pretty pleased with the overall performance given the money that I've paid for it. Running the standard 1800 milliamp battery provided, the car actually drove reasonably well. Certainly didn't have a lot of speed, but the suspension actually was fairly well tuned and the car didn't seem to bounce around too much. It was fairly plush, running on some rough terrain and grass, and even running on some asphalt as well and tarmac. It performed reasonably well. The tyres themselves aren't all that great. They have a very shallow tread pattern. They're a fairly hard compound, and running them on tarmac or concrete, those sort of hard terrain, you'll find that you'll start wearing out the tread quite quickly. Off-road, the tyres also didn't have a lot of grip due to the shallow tread pattern. But I have to say, given the speed of the car and the money that you pay for it, that's probably expected. But it wasn't that bad. The car performed overall reasonably well. I did put a 2S LiPo in here just to see if the car could handle it. The ESC actually handled it just fine. The car itself performed a lot better. Had a lot more consistent power through the throttle range. And I topped it out at about 30, maybe just over 30 kilometers an hour, which wasn't too bad for a brushed car like this one with a no-name brand motor built into it. Now this car is about as basic as it gets. There are almost no tuning options on the car at all. There's a couple of mounting options for your shocks on the shock tower, and also a couple of mounting options for your shocks on your A-arms. As I said, there are no preload spacers and the shocks are not threaded, so you can't really adjust your spring rate on this guy. And there are no camber or toe-in adjustments either. Everything is just using solid plastic linkages to keep everything straight. So there's really nothing as far as tuning for steering or anything like that, other than what the remote offers in your steering and throttle trims. Alright, so we're going to very quickly take the body off this guy and just give you a bit of a peek inside, and I'll quickly show you the battery tray as well. This was actually an interesting design, I think, for a car like this, where I'll just move the remote out of the way, where the battery tray actually just has one body pin that you take out. Battery tray swings open like so, and then you can fit your battery inside. Very easy and simple thing to do. The standard battery that they provide fits in here no problems at all. You can snag that guy in there, close your tray, put your pin back in, and away you go. Now I did find a couple of little problems with this battery tray when it came to using LiPo batteries. Now I'll close this up and give you all a bit of a very quick rundown of some of the issues that I've come across. Now here we have 3 examples of LiPo batteries. We've got a fairly cheap hard pack casing here where the plugs actually come off. Now this is a fairly thick 2S pack, certainly not RAW approved. We've got a soft pack 3S. Now this is a 3S, as I said, but you don't use 3S in this car because the ESC won't handle it. But a 2S battery pack in a soft casing like that would be about the same size. And then you've got a RAW approved Turnigy one here, which is a slightly smaller case than this guy, but the cables are actually permanently attached to the actual battery itself. So we're going to quickly take a bit of a look at this very cheap hard case one. Now you'll notice that the battery actually fits in here nice and snug, just like so. But when it comes time to close it, you'll actually come across a bit of an issue, and the tray won't actually close. So what you actually need to do is you need to unplug the cable, close the battery tray, and then plug the cable back in. And then that's the only way that you can actually use this battery. So that is one of the problems that I came across when installing LiPo batteries in this car. The other battery that you're going to be coming across is your soft pack. Now your soft pack will actually fit in here without too much of an issue. Obviously soft packs comes in a variety of different sizes, and you will need to be careful about the size of the battery that you buy, so that you make sure that it fits in the battery tray. Strap will close straight down without any problems, as long as you keep your cables towards the outside of the car, and then you're able to plug it in and use the car. So the next one, which is this guy here, the Aurora approved one with the attached cables. This battery will actually fit into the tray very, very well. There's actually quite a fair bit of wiggle room there. But then when you go to close the battery tray, you'll come across an issue there where the one of the corners won't allow the tray to close. So you will actually be cutting into the cable and quite possibly damaging it beyond repair. So you don't really want to be doing that. You can modify the tray by cutting out the corner a little bit. Personally, I don't advise doing that, but you know, as long as you're careful about the batteries that you buy, you shouldn't have any issues at all. Durability wise, with this car, I have to say that the car has held up extremely well given the price point of the vehicle. Certainly did not have anything break under normal working conditions. However, I did purposely try to hurt the car at one stage. I was driving it on the homemade ramp that I've got, just in the driveway and doing some jumps. And I did damage, well not damage, I scratched up the front end quite a bit from nosediving on the actual concrete. But nothing really broke, nothing actually gave way until I really started to abuse it and try to really hurt the car. Eventually the car tipped over, landed quite hard on the driveway, and one of the things that broke was the shock tower. And you can see the shock tower there snapped clean off straight at one end, so that one of the shocks got caught on the ground and snapped it off. Now that was really the only thing that broke on the car, and that was me trying to purposely hurt it to see what would give, whether I would break some steering linkages, an A-arm, a wheel hub, something. And until I landed quite awkwardly and flipped the car upside down on a hard surface, that's when the shock tower gave way. Working on the car, I have to say it was very, very easy. It took me a total, I think, of about 6 or 7 screws to remove, all up, on and off, to replace the shock tower, about 10-15 minutes. Standard Phillips head screws are used throughout the car, so you don't need any Allen keys or various sizes of Allen keys. Just need a standard size Phillips head screwdriver, and away you go. You can work on the car as much as you want. I have to say, overall this car is very tough. It's quite a cheap little unit, a lot of fun to drive, great little car for beginners or young kids who want to get into the hobby. Very, very happy with the vehicle. The 2.4 gigahertz radio is definitely a plus compared to some of the other models that are out there for this sort of price range. You can buy this guy in a brushless version as well, and you can buy it in a short cross track version, a truggy and monster truck version as well. So the chassis is actually shared across 4 different vehicles. Very happy with the car. If I was going to give it a score out of 10, I'd have to give it a total of 8. And you might think that that's actually quite high, but you've got to consider the price point and the application of the car. It's a nice, neat little basher, just something for a beginner. Very cheap entry-level price point, as I said. Taking all these factors into consideration, I have to rate the car accordingly, and I think an 8 out of 10 is very, very good. Definitely could have used better tyres. I know that generally RTR tyres are pretty crap. Most RTRs, even if you pay 3 or 4 times the amount that you see here, you're still going to get pretty average ready to run tyres out of the box. But they could have given me a slightly better tread pattern, I think. I think the tread pattern on these are really not good at all. And you know, I'm going to take a point away from the battery tray, and that's really nitpicking because you know, they could have designed that and just given you a little bit more freedom so that you don't have to worry about what sort of batteries you actually buy for the car, especially if you're going to be using it on lipos. That's pretty much my review for this one, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Please hit the like button if you like this video, or the thumbs down button if you didn't, and by all means subscribe if you like what you see. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll speak to you guys again soon.